Voko and Andreeva, the teenagers, and you have a few more years under your belt. When you think back to that point in your career, what do you think is the biggest difference in you today?
Should I say experience? Yeah, you make me look pretty old. Thank you. No, I mean...
You're so young.
No, I would say experience, probably. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
All right.
Karolina Muchova is through, and the result looks strong from every angle. On the stat sheet, it reads like a solid and controlled win, the kind of match people might assume was handled with ease. That is why what she said afterward caught so much attention, because instead of making the moment all about her own performance, Muchova turned the conversation toward her opponent, Eala. That choice changed the whole feel of the post-match reaction. Rather than speaking like someone who had just come through a simple contest, she spoke like someone who had been pushed, tested, and kept on alert from start to finish. Her honesty stood out right away. Muchova admitted that the match did not feel comfortable to her, even if the scoreboard may have suggested otherwise. She said she was nervous, and she did not hide that feeling or try to smooth it over. What made that admission hit so hard was the reason behind it. That tension came from Eala, from the way she had been building energy in the tournament, and from the sense that she could make something happen at any point. That says a lot on its own. Players at this level do not hand out that kind of respect for no reason, and when someone as experienced as Muchova says she felt that kind of pressure, people notice. What fans see from the stands or what viewers see on television is not always the same thing a player feels on court. Muchova made that point very clear without needing to spell it out in a dramatic way. From the outside, it may have looked like she was in control. From inside the match, it felt much tighter than that. She knew who was standing across from her. Eala had already made a name for herself during this Miami Open run by staying calm in difficult moments, fighting back when things looked bad, and refusing to lose belief when matches got tight. That sort of attitude creates problems because it keeps pressure alive even when the score leans the other way. A lead does not always feel safe against a player who keeps hanging around, and that was clearly part of what Muchova was dealing with. Even when she had the advantage, even when the match seemed to be moving in her direction, the idea of a comeback never fully left her mind. That is not just about one match. That is about what Eala had already shown throughout the event. She had become the kind of opponent who makes people stay switched on the whole time. Nothing can be relaxed, nothing can be handed over, and no point feels like a formality when a player like that is still standing there. That is why Muchova's words carried real meaning. She was not simply being kind after a win, and she was not tossing out the usual polite comments players sometimes give after a match. She gave Eala credit because she felt the pressure herself. She felt the quality coming from the other side of the net. She felt the fight in the match, and she felt the danger that can come from a player whose confidence is growing round by round. That kind of respect is earned. It does not show up by accident, and it is rarely offered so openly when the scoreline looks comfortable on paper. Professional tennis players understand each other in ways the public often cannot fully see. They know what heavy shots feel like. They know when someone is reading the court well, and they know when a younger player is beginning to believe she belongs on that stage. Muchova's reaction suggested all of that. Her praise pointed to something bigger than one result. It pointed to the arrival of a serious threat, someone who is not just collecting experience or enjoying one bright week, but someone who is already making high-level opponents uneasy. That may be the most telling part of all. Results matter, of course, and wins are what move players through the draw, but sometimes a match reveals something deeper than who advanced. Sometimes the lasting message comes from how one player talks about another after it is over. In this case, Muchova's comments gave the tennis world a closer look at how Eala is now being viewed inside the locker room. She is not just a young name fans are getting excited about. She is becoming a player the top names are paying real attention to, and that changes everything. Once players start seeing you as dangerous, every match takes on a different feel. There is more respect, more caution, and more preparation. Eala may not have won that day, but the way Muchova spoke made one thing clear. She had felt the challenge. She had felt the nerves. She had felt the possibility that the match could turn if she let her level drop for even a moment. That is a strong statement about where Eala now stands, and it may say even more than the final score ever could.
I'd say it's kind of everything, like good preparation, good team around me, good people, playing, keeping healthy, as you mentioned, good practices. It's kind of little pieces of everything, and then when it clicks, I'm happy it clicked, and that I'm here playing some good tennis.
Even with the loss, this tournament became a major statement for Eala. She did not arrive just to fill a spot in the draw, and she certainly did not look like someone satisfied to simply be part of the event. She came in ready to compete, ready to test herself, and ready to show that she belongs at this level. That is what made this run matter so much. It was not built on one moment, and it was not built on hype alone. Match after match, she showed people that she could handle pressure, absorb tough moments, and still play with belief. The road to the Muchova match is a huge part of why this run means so much. Before that meeting, Eala had already come through one of the hardest tests of the tournament against Laura Siegemund. That was not a clean or easy match. It turned into a full battle and every part of her game was put under pressure. Her body had to hold up through long rallies. Her mind had to stay clear during repeated deuces, and her emotions had to stay under control while the match kept shifting back and forth. Matches like that can drain a player. They can take away energy, confidence, and sharpness all at once, especially when there is very little time to recover before the next round. What Eala did after that said a lot about who she is as a competitor. She did not step into the next match looking tired, heavy, or mentally flat. She looked sharper. She looked more settled. She looked like the battle had helped her rather than hurt her. That was one of the most impressive parts of her week. Some players survive a tough match and then fade in the round that follows. Eala went the other way. She came back stronger, and that told everyone watching that she is learning fast and building confidence from each challenge instead of getting buried by it. Her performance against Magda Linette drove that point home. It was not just a good win. It was the kind of performance that makes people stop and reassess what they are seeing. From the first stages of the match, Eala played with purpose, and there was no wasted movement in her game. She looked clear in her decisions, sure in her shot choices, and fully committed to the way she wanted to play. Nothing about her approach suggested hesitation. She did not carry the weight of the previous battle like a player still trying to recover. She carried the belief that came from getting through it. That is a major difference, and it showed in everything she did. She was not out there reacting and hoping the match would go her way. She was shaping it. She directed rallies with intent, chose her moments wisely, and stayed calm when points started to get tense. There was real maturity in that display, and it stood out because it went beyond simple shot making. Plenty of players can hit good balls when they feel free. What makes a performance like that special is the decision making, the patience, and the calm under pressure. Eala showed all of it. Linette had entered that match with belief of her own, and she had every reason to feel good about her level. Still, Eala never let the match turn into one where she was reacting to the occasion. She did not treat the moment like it was too big, and she did not play the name across from her. She played her game. That matters because when a player starts doing that consistently, rankings and reputations stop carrying the same weight. The focus shifts to execution, and once that happens, the match becomes far more dangerous for the opponent. Very early on, it was clear that Eala had the better grip on the contest. She was reading the court well, taking time away when she had the chance, and stepping into exchanges instead of backing away from them. Linette produced good shots and had stretches where she tried to settle in, but Eala kept answering with authority. Under pressure, she looked more comfortable. In the tighter exchanges, she looked more decisive. When the big points arrived, she looked ready to trust her instincts. Those are signs of a player starting to understand her strengths at a deeper level. When she took the first set 6-3, it did not feel fluky or accidental. It felt earned. In fact, it felt like the natural result of how well she had controlled the shape of the match. That first set told a bigger story than the number on the scoreboard. It showed how prepared she was, how composed she had become, and how willing she was to take charge rather than wait for chances to come to her. A lot of younger players can hang around in matches. Eala looked like a player determined to drive them. That performance helps explain why Muchova felt so alert going into their meeting. She had seen the same things everyone else had seen. She had seen Eala survive a bruising test against Laura Siegemund. She had seen her return with force against Magda Linette. She had seen a player who kept her emotions steady, stayed brave in difficult moments, and refused to stop believing in the match no matter what it looked like from the outside. Those are dangerous qualities in any draw, and they become even more dangerous when confidence starts rising at the same time. So, when Muchova later admitted that she felt Eala could come back at any moment, that comment rang true because it matched what Eala had already shown throughout the tournament. It did not sound like empty praise. It sounded like the honest reaction of someone who understood exactly how tricky that matchup could become if her own level slipped. Respect like that usually takes time to build, but Eala has already started earning it through the way she competes, not just through the results she collects. At the same time, credit has to go to Muchova for the way she handled the day. She was the stronger player in that match. She carried out her plan better, and she managed the important moments with the kind of control that top players rely on in big tournaments. She showed why she is already an established name on the tour, and she showed why she remains so difficult to handle when the rounds get deeper and the pressure gets heavier. That part of the story should not be lost, because winning matches like this takes discipline and experience. Still, as the Miami Open 2026 moves forward for Muchova, one of the biggest takeaways from this match may still center on Eala. Her run was not about simply getting court time or picking up lessons in defeat. She showed that she can compete right now. She showed that she can push quality opponents, handle complicated moments, and keep growing in real time against players who know how to expose weakness. And that is what makes this run feel important. It feels like more than a nice week. It feels like the early stage of something real. Breakthroughs do not always come with trophies or titles. Sometimes they arrive in the form of recognition. Sometimes they show up when fans start believing, when analysts start talking differently, and when opponents start speaking about you with caution instead of curiosity. Eala's run did exactly that. Each match added another piece to the picture. Each challenge sharpened how people see her. By the time this tournament ended for her, she no longer looked like an unknown name trying to get noticed. She looked like a player beginning to claim space on the WTA stage, one of the strongest signs headlines from her week was not just the tennis itself, but the way she carried herself through everything that came with it. Pressure did not seem to knock her off course. Tough stretches did not break her focus. Difficult moments did not push her into panic. Over and over, she responded with a steady head and a willingness to keep working through the problem in front of her. That kind of mindset matters just as much as the shots, because it is often the difference between a player who flashes talent and a player who keeps climbing. Losses like this happen to every player who goes on to build something big. No one arrives fully formed, and no one skips the hard lessons that come with facing proven names on major stages. What separates players is what they do with those moments afterward. Eala has already shown that she can take a hard match, pull something useful from it, and come back better the next time out. That habit will matter more and more as she continues moving up and facing tougher opposition on a regular basis. So while Karolina Muchova deserves the spotlight for moving on, she also made sure the story did not stop with her own win. By praising Eala so openly, she added weight to what many people were already starting to feel. A new player is pushing her way into the conversation, and she is doing it with real substance behind her game. That kind of acknowledgement from an established competitor sends a message across the tour. It tells other players that Eala is not someone to overlook, not someone to treat lightly, and not someone who will stay in the background for very long. That is why this ending does not really feel like an ending at all. Yes, the Miami Open run stops here for Eala, but the feeling around her has changed. It feels like the start of a bigger chapter, one where she is no longer moving quietly under the radar. She is stepping into view now as a real contender, a player with tools, confidence, and a growing presence that others can already feel. Everything she built during this tournament goes with her from here. The confidence is real, the experience is real, the respect is real. Those things do not disappear after one loss. They travel with a player into the next event and the one after that. And if Karolina Muchova's own words are any guide, the tennis world has very good reason to keep watching Eala closely, because this looks much more like a beginning than a finish.